Today, we're going to break down a really dark and important chapter in history, how Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party actually managed to take power in Germany. It's a story that, believe it or not, still has some major lessons for us today. So how does something like that even happen? How does a whole country's democracy just fall apart? Well, it's not a single moment. It's really a series of steps, kind of like climbing a staircase to a very dark place. So let's start at the bottom and see how they got to the top. To get how the Nazis were able to take over, you first have to understand what Germany was like back then, in the late 1920s and early 30s. The country was basically on its knees. It was a nation in crisis. Now, the government in charge was called the Weimar Republic. It was a democracy, sure, but it was a really fragile one. And honestly, it was struggling, big time, to deal with all the massive problems the country was facing. You've got to picture this. It was like a perfect storm of disasters. First, you have the Great Depression, which hit Germany incredibly hard. Millions of people were out of work, and many were literally starving. On top of that, there was this feeling of deep national humiliation because of the Treaty of Versailles, the deal that ended World War I. It basically forced Germany to take all the blame, pay a ton of money, and give up land. And to make things even worse, the government itself was a mess, just total political chaos, with parties arguing all the time and getting nothing done. People were angry, they were desperate, and they were ready for anyone, to offer a solution. So into all of this chaos steps the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler. And he comes along offering what seemed like simple, powerful answers to all of Germany's complicated problems. And their strategy was, in a really twisted way, kind of brilliant. They had a simple, catchy promise for every single problem. For all the people out of work, they promised jobs and food. For the national humiliation, they promised to just tear up that treaty and make Germany a powerful nation again. And for all the political chaos, they said, look, democracy isn't working. What you need is one strong leader to fix everything. It was a message that a lot of desperate people really wanted to hear. But look, making promises is one thing. The Nazis had a whole playbook for getting their message out there and for crushing anyone who got in their way. It was basically a three-part strategy. Let's break it down. First up there was Hitler himself. He was an absolutely magnetic public speaker. He would hold these huge rallies, give these incredibly energetic, emotional speeches, and just whip the crowds into a frenzy. He made people feel powerful and part of something big. Second, they were masters of propaganda. Now, propaganda is basically information that's biased, often totally misleading, and it's designed to push a political agenda. The Nazis used everything, posters, the radio, movies, to just flood the public with their ideas, repeating simple slogans over and over until people started to believe them. And the third part, the really brutal part, was the SA. They were also called the Brown Shirts. This was basically the Nazis' private army. They were thugs who would use violence and fear to silence anyone who disagreed with them. They'd break up the meetings of other parties and scare voters. It created this atmosphere of chaos that made the Nazis seem like the only ones strong enough to bring back order. So you combine these powerful promises with all that fear and pressure, and what happens? The Nazis' popularity just skyrockets. By the summer of 1932, they'd become the biggest political party in the German parliament. It was a shocking rise. All of this growing support gave Hitler the leverage he needed to demand the top job in the government, the chancellor. You can think of the chancellor as being like a prime minister. They're the one who actually runs the country day to day. And then, on January 30th, 1933, it happened. Hitler was appointed chancellor. But, and this is a really important detail, he wasn't elected to that spot with a huge majority of votes. No, it was a backroom deal. A group of powerful conservative politicians convinced the elderly president, Hindenburg, to give Hitler the job. And this right here is the crucial mistake. The people who put Hitler in power thought they were so clever. They figured they could control him, use him as a puppet to achieve their own goals, and then just get rid of him. They were so wrong. It was a massive miscalculation that would change the world forever. So the second Hitler got his hands on the levers of power, he and the Nazis moved with terrifying speed. They started to tear down Germany's democracy, one piece at a time. And this building, the Reichstag, the German parliament building in Berlin, it's about to become the perfect excuse for their final, total power grab. Just look at how fast this all happened. Less than a month after Hitler becomes chancellor, the Reichstag building is set on fire. The Nazis immediately blamed their political enemies and used the fire to create a sense of panic. They convinced the president to sign an emergency decree that, overnight, suspends basic civil rights like freedom of speech and the press. Just like that, all opposition was silenced. This was the final nail in the coffin. In March of 1933, surrounded by armed SA members who were intimidating anyone who might vote no, the parliament passed something called the Enabling Act. This law literally gave Hitler the power to make laws all by himself, without needing parliament's approval at all. He was now, for all intents and purposes, a legal dictator. German democracy was dead. Okay, so with absolute power now in his hands, Hitler moves to the final step of his plan. Get rid of any and all remaining opposition and completely reshape Germany into a Nazi state. And they were incredibly systematic about it. Trade unions that could organize workers? Banned. All other political parties? Outlawed. The Nazi Party was now the only legal party in Germany. Local governments? All taken over by Nazis. And they opened the first concentration camps, not for enemies in a war, but to imprison their own people, anyone who dared to stand up to them. Then, in August 1934, the final piece fell into place. President Hindenburg, the one person who could have legally challenged Hitler's power, died. The last roadblock was gone. Hitler didn't waste a second. He immediately merged the jobs of president and chancellor into one, creating a new supreme title for himself, the Führer, which just means leader. He was now the absolute ruler of Germany, and he even made the entire army swear an oath of personal loyalty to him, not to the country. The staircase was complete. The dictatorship had begun. And all of this brings us back to that first question we asked. The story of Hitler's rise is a pretty chilling reminder of just how fragile a democracy can be. It shows us that a government with checks and balances and civil rights can be taken apart, step by step. Understanding how a democracy can fall is really the first step in knowing how to protect one, and that's a lesson we should never, ever forget.